Good afternoon, folks. I have to bring you this story on this snowy afternoon. This is another story building upon the disastrous 2015 that straight Americans have had to deal with. In a year that we've seen a man can be a woman and win Woman of the Year, students at a college can get offended over phantom racism and culturally insensitive food, and even to the point where hurt feelings, as I had mentioned on college campuses, can call for safe spaces where only certain people who make those people feel safe are allowed. Now, building on that, this law is absolutely astonishing. It's basically stating if you call a transsexual person he or she when they prefer to be called she, yes, that is Z-H-E. According to the newly updated anti-discrimination law in New York City, you could literally be fined $250,000. Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. We really appreciate your support of the Constitution and the First Amendment. Incidents that are deemed willful and malicious will see property owners face up to $250,000 in fines, while standard violations of the law will result in a $125,000 fine. For entrepreneurs who are trying to build something of themselves and make a life for them and their families, this fine could be absolutely disastrous. This could tank their entire business. This could set back the hard work that they've put in on their own, most likely, to get to where they have gotten in this country. And that, to me, is a travesty of epic proportions. It is of epic proportions. From the updated legislation, the NYC HRL requires employers and covered entities to use an individual's preferred name, pronoun, and title, Miss, Mrs., regardless of the individual's sex assigned at birth, anatomy, gender, medical history, appearance, or the sex indicated on the individual's identification. Most individuals and many transgender people use female pronouns and titles. Some transgender and gender non-conforming, which is the new keyword for transgender, people prefer to use pronouns other than he, him, his, or she, her, hers, such as they, them, theirs, or z, here. This is astonishing that people can make up words to call themselves and then try to prosecute you when you refuse to play this asinine game with these people. Other violations of the law include refusing to allow individuals to use single-sex facilities, such as bathrooms that are consistent with their gender identity. Basically, a man who says he's a woman can go in a woman's bathroom. Failing to provide employee health benefits for gender-affirming care. So now, corporations are already hit with all these different kind of fees, and now they have to provide employee benefits for gender-affirming care. And also, imposing different uniforms or grooming standards based on sex or gender. If I'm not mistaken, don't men and women already have different uniforms and grooming standards? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So because I don't have long hair, I'm supposed to get up and brush my hair like I'm a woman every morning. It makes absolutely no sense. Not to mention, this group represents 0.3% of the population. Maybe 0.5% of the population. And it's just amazing that that small percentage of people can trump the rights and the views and the feelings of millions and millions of Americans. And it's not only America that has an issue with the so-called transgender. Why don't you go take your happy self to the Middle East and try to be transgender and talk about gender-neutral bathrooms and and imposing $250,000 fines on property owners for calling somebody the wrong word that's been made up by some leftist. I mean, this is an absolute disaster. How can you impose something on a country? I've mentioned this in previous videos. How can you impose something on a country where a majority of the people do not agree with it? How do you think by forcing this into society, you're going to integrate it peacefully, successfully, and then you're going to eliminate all people's feelings because they're being forced into liking this type of stuff? I mean, this is just crazy. I never thought in a million years I would ever be sitting here talking about a man being able to put on high heels and literally walk into the women's bathroom. This is just absolutely insane. We need to do something about it. We need to vote in the next election, and we need to change this. Thank you. This has been a Mixed News Network production.